Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Josh Scorcher of the top 10 improved bosses. Now, if I had to guess, these were gonna be bosses that were, reworked or improved in remakes or re-releases of old school games. So, let's hop in and see what Josh found out.
This video is brought to you by Redneck Engineer, custom-built gaming PCs and parts for an affordable price. Use code Josh Scorcher at checkout for a 5% discount. And make sure you don't have any coupon clipping extensions like Honey installed or I don't get my commission. Thank you! Throughout my Countdown career, I've touched on a number of bosses, both bad and good. But what about the ones that managed to evolve? These are the bosses that were abysmal in one game and yet managed to be far better in another. Sometimes it's because they have legitimately fun and challenging mechanics. Others, it's just a matter of them sucking significantly less. Whatever the reason, these are the top 10 improved bosses.
Here we go. Oh, you know what? Something funny Josh could have done for this episode specifically is to, improve, I'm using quotes, the intro. Oh, that would have been just funny. 10 improved bosses, a new improved intro. Galactonite. Oh, see, that's how it's done.
Once again, I'd like to give some attention to the neglected child of the Arkham series, Arkham Origins. It's one of the only 2 chapters in the series not made by Rocksteady, so it's constantly left out of the marketing. Yet the problem child is still counted. Brilliant as always, Warner Brothers. Yeah, Origins was a little finicky with continuity at times, but it still brought a lot of great things with it. Some of them were handled better than the main games. Among them, Bane.
It was a necessary casualty to kill the Batman.
Yeah, and I'm currently holding an alive Batman, so I guess it didn't work. Did it, Welsh Bane?
I don't want to say Bane was
Welsh Bane.
bad, because he really wasn't. He introduced some elements that furthered the story, and his fight was decent enough. The biggest offender is that it feels too samey compared to the other Titan boss fights. Scarecrow and Poison Ivy still take the crown because of their uniqueness, and I think I said more about Titan Joker than I want to. After the fight, Bane
I think you've talked about him 5 times. I can't remember.
Heated out of the story by the Batmobile, and we don't see him again until a side mission in Arkham City. At last, we come to Origins. Yeah, Joker kind of hijacked the story again, but Bane is arguably the most threatening villain in the game. He actually has 2 boss fights. The first one is pretty standard. Bane is a tank, but not so much that you can't land a punch on him. Just so much so that stunning and dodging are your best bets. Overall, nicely handled scrap and a little more unique than Asylum. However,
good use of Venom.
Bane's story doesn't end there. He managed to deduce Batman's identity, invaded the Batcave, Bruce's most sacred sanctum, and nearly killed Alfred. So you better believe we're getting a rematch, and this one raises the stakes. In part 1 of the semi-final boss fights, Bane rigs the match so that Batman either has to kill him or allow someone else to die in his place. Dang! Did Bane add some monster energy into his venom? This guy's like the world's speediest bulldozer. But like the first fight, you can still land a punch on him. You just gotta stun and dodge as much as you can. Thankfully, Bats manages to defuse Bane's trap, but in round 2, the Juggernaut manages to bulk up to unstoppable levels. You try to fight him head on, and you are double dead. The only way to take him down is to rely on stealth and gadgets to incapacitate him from the shadows. It really sucks that Origins isn't...
Oh, so it's kind of like the Mr. Freeze fight from Arkham City.
Marketed more as an official part of the Arkham series, because it did what the original game couldn't. Make Bane a legitimate threat instead of a footnote. With 2 boss fights to his name, one serving as the opening act, and the other doubling as a deathmatch in the game of hide and seek, Origins reminded us how Bane earned his crown as the man who broke the Batman.
Number 9. We move to...
Oh, Bowser.
Oh,
Bowser,
Mario,
Bowser,
okay.
Bowser.
Peaches, 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 peaches.
Oh, hey!
Easily one of the most
Careful now.
iconic boss fights in gaming, serving as the Red Plumber's nemesis since he first debuted on the NES and saved the industry. At the time, there weren't that many standards for video game boss fights, so people were perfectly satisfied with it. But let's not kid ourselves. Bowser's boss fights across most mainline Mario games are pretty average at best. Let's list them, shall we? Mario 1, can I ask you a question? Mario 3, dodge! Mario World.
Let me show you my new ultimate weapon.
Behold!
64.
Hell yeah.
Mario Sunshine.
Get out of my bathroom!
New Super Mario DS.
Yep.
What does this button do?
Mario Galaxy.
No! Galactic Planet.
Dang, that music is peak! After we find Princess Peach being held captive on Bowser's spaceship,
here we go.
the time comes to battle our arch nemesis in 3
Oh, it's probably going to be this one and the one in Super Mario Galaxy 2.
phases. The first 2 have us on stars where Bowser will try to run you over, tail slap you, and send shockwaves at you. All you have to do is punch him over and over again until you have to fight him inside of the sun.
What?
I think we're about to crash into the sun.
Yeah, but it's gonna look really cool.
This phase is where he adds fire
Okay.
breath to his arsenal. Heck,
Nice.
he'll even try to break the glass in the sphere you're standing on to create pits of lava. Then you punch him into the sun to burn alive. It's more beautiful than watching a sunset.
Oh,
Nintendo went
boy.
above and beyond for this iconic Bowser fight. Super Mario Galaxy is already more gritty than its predecessors, but this
Yeah,
final
this
boss
is
fight
actually
where we
pretty
get to
cool.
throw our old foe into the literal sun is a far cry from just jumping over Bowser to hit an axe and knock him into lava. But with how much Super Mario Galaxy changes things up, it only makes sense that Bowser's boss fight would be out of this world.
Oh, I just realized, hold on. Look at his back, though. The spikes are not out. His shell is perfectly flat. Well, you know, smooth. That is so weird and so unnatural. You think Bowser, you think spikes. Not that.
No. No space puns. Bad writer.
I didn't even hear your pun. I'm sorry. Number 8. Oh, space to 8.
Tradition's a
It's-
fun thing, ain't it? When you're a long-running series, there's bound to be a boss or two that keeps showing up like
Oh,
an old
Ridley,
friend.
huh?
And the friendliest mass murderer of this side of Popstar has managed to make it a habit of battering a tree at the start of his adventures.
Oh,
Wispy
Wispy
Woods is
Woods.
Kirby's most recurring foe, serving as an early boss in one form or another in every single main game in the franchise. He's a simple boss when you get
okay.
down to it. He's a tree. He sits there, minding his own business, dropping apples, and breathing puffs of air at you. Really? What do you
Yep.
expect him to
He
do?
a tree.
He's a tree, not really known for doing anything crazy
That
in
it.
nature. So how do you keep him interesting when he shows up all the time? Simple, slow, serial escalation. It started in
Ooh,
Superstar where they doubled him
okay.
up. Then Dreamland 3 made him get angry and chase you. In 64, he's sending his roots and kids at you, and
He had
it just
babies.
keeps going and going. From fighting his mirror world self as a giant rock golem
Yeah,
to
King
his
Golem.
grandfather? There are different versions
Apparently.
of Wispy across the series, just in case the vanilla tree gets too boring. In Triple Deluxe, he blooms with flowers and decides to become incredibly mobile for a tree. In Planet Robobot,
Yeah, he
decides, you know what,
jumps.
I've had it. Gets turned into a robot, gets a gun stalled in his mouth.
I wouldn't say this is a Wispy Woods made into a robot, but I'm also a robot based on Wispy Woods. So, you know, robot.
And starts chasing you down out for blood. His most recent outing in Forgotten Land has him on vacation as Tropic Woods. Tropic Woods foregoes the apples and
Now,
decides
this
that
one's
truly
pretty
the
okay.
answer to the Kirby problem is dropping down exploding coconuts. And in his Phantom refight, his roots get upgraded into forming a maze of
Oh.
walls. All the while he pelts you with waves of invincible Gordos. Kirby loves its bosses
Damn
and
you,
loves
Gordos.
upping the ante with every subsequent release. While we all look forward to what manner of ultimate evil Kirby's facing as the final boss every outing, Wispy's
True.
always been there to ease us in. There to be the first stop in Kirby's journey. And we wouldn't have it any other way.
He's always there. Well, from the corners of 7, we move on. I mean, from the corners of 8, we move on to number 7.
Out of the many characters in the Mega Man series, Harpui has to be one of the coolest looking mother effers around. Between his sleek aerodynamic design, lightning abilities, and his role as the leader of the X-Guardians, so much about him is just a setup for success.
I don't know who
Why did
this
they make
is.
his debut fight so easy? Even in a game as grueling as Zero One, Harpuia doesn't take a lot of muscle to intercept. His attack pattern
Unfortunately, I've never played any Mega Man games. Sorry.
is very easy to read, and you can keep him
Okay, no, technically speaking, I did play some Mega Man games. I did not play them well.
stuck at the same cycle with just
And no
charge
longer have
shots.
them.
You don't even need an ice chip, just a simple charge shot, and he becomes Pocket Spark Mandrill. Considering his Herald Aztec Falcon is one of the most punishing first bosses in gaming, you'd think his superior would measure up in difficulty? Then again, I'd rather not have another boss like that in this game. Fast forward to Zero Two, and Harpuia has stepped up his game decently enough. He's faster,
Oh,
has more attacks,
okay.
and even has an overdrive that keeps you on your toes. It gets even better when we fight his armed form. While the other
Damn.
X-Guardians take this form to rip
All
you
right.
apart, Harpuia is controlled by Elpizo, whom Zero knows now more than ever is a bigger threat. Harpooia fires missiles, pushes you with a tornado, and hurls electronic orbs at you. Not being
Whoa.
able to stun lock him this time definitely makes this fight a lot less breakable, which helps make it a genuine challenge. He
That
pretty much
is
went
actually
from
pretty
Spartan
cool.
Mandrill to Volt Kraken. The boss fight, not the stage. Not the stage. Honestly, I wish we could get a
Everyone
more
hates that
consistent
stage.
rival with Harpooia so we can get more fights and see how far he'd evolve. Having him become an ally in 0-3 was fine and all, but it still feels like we won't get
There you go.
to do much with him. At least we did get to play with his biometal in the ZX games.
Alright, well, we move from whatever that was at number 7 to number 6. It's
Metroid for the NES is no stranger to the
Oh, now it's
elementary
gonna be
design
Ridley.
principles of old school gaming.
No, my days of old school gaming.
And like its peers, it controls like Hardwood Stairs attempted ballet and is violently outdated. Needless to say, it's clunky as a mother
yeah.
brain. Yeah, even the old school Final Fights were as elementary as they come. In fact, in the original NES Metroid, Mother Brain just kind of sits there while
That's
the
it.
security system
Just
does all the pew-pew work.
Sitting though.
Then Super Metroid came along.
And second stage of second
As
phase.
a wise philosopher once said,
Holy sh! That is a final boss.
My skibbity sigma.
after the fight
What?
with Mother
Wait.
Brain and Super appears to
Wait,
go
wait. The voice of Kane? Hold on. Yeah, just checked Google. That was Kane. That is Kane. It may not sound like him, but that is indeed Kane's voice actor.
just as it did in the
Holy
original.
crap.
Her defeated Rouge sheds as she rises from the ground into some grotesque bipedal dinosaur raw chicken looking thing. It's alarming,
yeah.
trust me. She bites this time. Hard. Eventually so hard that the baby Metroid
Nope.
has to sacrifice itself to save you from her pride beam. I mean, hyper beam.
Pride
It's a tricky
beam.
fight at times to be sure. Now, we have to actually aim to hit her weak point. I know, aiming in a shooter. Completely novel idea.
It's like, oh
It's refreshing to have
my.
a final boss that actually puts up a fight and lets you have more fun than standing on the same platforms and button mashing. Oh, and now with the weird basement elevator pixel music from the original version. Here's a nightmare fuel theme with an organ synthesizer and a 7/4 time signature. The music isn't just an
7/4
upgrade,
time signature.
but it's
I
arguably
thought
one of the
that
best
somewhere.
final boss themes on the entire SNES
Can't
library.
remember.
Aside from the obvious best one, Dancing Mad.
I get it.
It is an improvement
All
upon
right.
something that wasn't much to begin with. It became the spectacle of a final boss fight that you would expect retrospectively, and a standard to be met going forward in the Metroid series.
That is
She's
true.
frightening, she's challenging, she motivates you to beat her down after killing the baby Metroid. Her music rocks, and it's overall oozing with
Yep.
the
Pretty much
dangerous
just
and
killed
fun
your child.
atmosphere.
No, they didn't have this back in my day.
Easy though, Josh. You're starting to sound like Clancy Brown trying to play Mr. Krabs. Well, we move from Mother Brain of 6 to number 5. It's
Okay, so let's talk Alive again.
Daring today, aren't we?
Fans of mine know this gem pretty well by now.
Okay,
If you
okay.
don't, 8 Heroes Across 8 Time Periods, influenced Undertale and Octopath Traveler, got a remake you should play. There we go. And yes, I know Saga influenced Octopath more, but barely anyone knew about it until the last remake came out. Speaking of the remake, man, that HD 2D
Wow.
style worked out so well for the game. If they remake Chrono
Still good
Trigger like
looking.
this, I'm gonna cry.
Dude, I would freaking love if they remade Chrono Trigger. I mean, I'm pretty much pretty deep into my series. For the channel. Well, check it out if you haven't. We reached the Mountain of Woe for the Guru of Life or whatever it was. Recently. In fact, yesterday actually. But yeah, if they were to remake it, I would replay the whole game over again if I had to.
With this fresh coat of
I'd
paint, we
start
also
from
get way
episode
better representation
1.
with these boss fights. And you know which one I chose? The final battle with the Lord of Dark, Odio. We start against the eyes, maw, and brow
Oh,
of
what the
Odia.
hell?
The eyes are capable of paralyzing you, and the maw can attack multiple times in a row and in a spread. When they're down, the brow comes out and unleashes its power, spreading out your party and dealing a buttload of damage. All this is pretty similar to the OG fight on the SNES, though the presentation is
so
much
ugly.
better. Just look at some of these attacks. Hi, Saint Alethea. After the brow's defeat, you get a choice to kill Ursted, but of course, you have to spare him to get the true ending. When you leave and meet up with the other heroes,
That's right.
Ursted comes out and releases all of his power, revives his other incarnations, and forces each hero to fight them once more. Once you finish this boss rush, which is admittedly kind of hollow, you are done. In the SNES version. But in the
Oh.
remake, there is one more phase to really go out with a bang.
Here we go.
Sin of Odio comes out as Ursted takes all of
Sin
the
of
hate from his
Odio.
incarnations and fights the heroes one last time. It's like a
Oh,
victory
okay.
lap. Each of your heroes gets a turn
Yeah.
to wail on the Lord of Dark as their attacks weaken its grip over Ursted, allowing Ursted to break free and deliver the final blow to Odio himself. The original fight was fine, though it kind of ended on
Okay.
a whimper after the
Nice.
boss rush. Sin of Odio not only gave us a fantastic climax and
You know what? He pulled a Kobe. You fought the boss, now fight the soul.
closure, but the overall presentation and design of the remake vastly improved the original in every way. And man, that theme that plays with Sin still gives me chills to this day.
Alright, and removed from the Sins of 5 to number 4. It's...
If you want a series that has bosses of both extremes, Kingdom Hearts, my simultaneous beloved and beloathed, is here to deliver. This series
I don't
has
know
both
anything
some of
about
the
it.
best bosses in gaming, but also some of the most infuriating and bullshit. I dare you to find a boss and character more infamous in this series than Dream Drop Distance's young Xehanort. This cocky little brat shows up and starts complicating
explain?
the series by adding time travel to the mix and fighting him. Oh, fighting him is a pain. He's like an anime villain in gaming form. You have to deal with all the brokenness that implies. He's way too
Oh.
fast, way too powerful, and he doesn't care if you want to flinch him because he's just going to resist and stun lock you to death. Your pets aren't going to be much help thanks to the grindy nature of actually getting them to this level. Oh, think you're done after getting his health to 0?
Oh no, what, phase 2?
Oh no! He goes into a big fancy clock that, if you don't destroy it in time, resets the entire fight and restores young Nordy's health.
Crap.
I hate this boss fight. Everyone hates this boss fight.
That's so not good.
3 brought it back. I was so ready to scream having to fight him again. But then you actually get to him and, well, welcome to the Nort Court. You're not just fighting him, you're fighting young Xehanort, Xemnas, and Ansem all at once, and they're bringing their A game.
Okay,
You'd think
that's-
a gank from
that's
previous
kinda
final
funny.
bosses would be insanely difficult, but you're well equipped in Kingdom Hearts 3 with powerful abilities and teammates that can actually keep up. But okay, I hear you. You want an actual fight against
I can
young
accept
Xehanort
this.
himself for this list. Well, come the DLC and you get exactly that in the data fights. So, did they tune him down? Did they implement his time shenanigans in a way that feels fair? The answer
made it worse,
is
didn't it?
finally yes!
Oh,
You
never
can
mind.
finally counter him if you're skilled enough. All your abilities are right there with you, built in and unreliant on partners that take ages to rake up, and instead of restarting the battle, young Xehanort uses a time stop.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, the funny meme. But you're not helpless when he does that. He mainly stops times just to set up attacks against you. Attacks that, since they're telegraphed super obviously, are easily avoided if you know how. And when he does
Okay,
his big
okay.
super ability to trap you and stop time, you can counter just by hitting him to break out.
Wow, that worked.
Across the franchise, young Xehanort has been an absolute chore to deal with.
So
Both
easy.
in his debut game and in his cameo fight as the mysterious figure. If you want to count
Wow.
that. But give KH3 credit on one thing. It made beating the snot out of him fun.
Yeah, I do have to
Finally.
give credit.
This is for diluting Xehanort and the others as villains and making the timeline needlessly complicated. Eat it, eat it, eat it!
Ooh,
What?
Josh.
Don't judge me. Everyone hates him.
Yeah, but I'm wanted for your health a little bit, man. Well, from the time mess of number 4, we move on to number 3. It's...
Pokemon fans have some choice words to say about the bosses in Diamond and Pearl, but I do have to give them some credit. They always have teams
Cynthia?
that feel complete. A standard opener, a stronger midpoint Pokemon, and the gen's new monster as the ace. This applies for 7 gyms straight, and it makes each one stand as a believable challenge. Then there's Volkner. For a guy who's supposedly so strong that he got bored of winning, his team feels so off. He's supposedly an electric gym leader. You'd expect him to have a team of electric types. But when you
Yeah,
actually
you
see
would
it, there's
expect.
only Raichu and Luxray? What else is he having there? Octillery and Ambipom? I mean, not bad Pokemon. They have an electric type move, but is this what you want to see from an electric type leader? A guy who's only somewhat electric?
Oh, that's a
If
shiny.
he's just going for coverage against ground, why not have an
Rated.
electric
Good
type
name.
that flies or uses water, grass, and ice moves? Hint, hint. I don't know if you think that's
Yeah,
weird. Let's look
Rotom.
at his buddy Flint. This guy is part of the Elite Four and uses fire types. Oh, cool. Fire type boss. Can't wait to see what his team looks like. Oh.
That's right.
Yeah, nothing screams brilliant
right,
like
kinda
being
forgot.
a fire type specialist in a region that hates fire types. This guy has Rapidash and Infernape on his team. That's two. 2 out of 5 Pokemon. What does he fill the rest with?
Drifblim,
Lopunny, and Steelix. Yeah, Steelix. A slow
Wait,
steel ground
what?
type that's basically free food for water types.
Yeah.
How is that supposed to be coverage?
And fighting
Part of the
types.
fun of being a type-based gym leader or Elite Four is seeing how they work with the limitations of being a type specialist. As
See, that's kind of why we've started kind of thinking and that a gym isn't based around a type. Well, not alone. It's based around a type and a theme. Like with Volknor, his, of course, he is meant to be an electric gym leader, but it seemed like his theme was more industry in a way.
as well as presenting
all
the
the
various
heals and
Pokemon
crap.
of that type the generation has to offer. While Gens 1 and 2 struggled to meet that end, starting from Gen 3, team variety and boss fights got a lot more consistent. It really doesn't make sense why Diamond and Pearl didn't just let these two have Electivire and Magmortar from the start, or give them more Pokemon of their type to work with in general. It'd be one thing if their teams are secretly clever, but the most that they got going are unreliable baton pass strats. Sorry, boys, but competitive movesets, these ain't. Moving on to Platinum, we thankfully did get a fixed version of their teams.
Okay,
They finally
here we go.
got a complete type
There
set
it is.
with Electivire, Magmortar, Houndoom, and respective evolutions. Both of these
Finally,
Pokemon
there
all
you
have
go.
extensive coverage, and Flint packs a lot of heavy-hitting moves like Overheat, Thunderbolt, Earthquake, and Sunny Day Solar Beam combos. They really
Platinum.
lived up to their monikers
Nice.
this time and focused on being threatening instead of gimmicky. Man, these two went from Diamond and Pearl's Dumb and Dumber to actual respectable top dogs in Platinum.
Now that's
Nice to
how
see
you
the
do
developers
it.
learned their lesson. Now they just got to carry this over to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Oh, they still have their old teams. And they're more annoying now.
Well, this was a
Damn it.
disappointment.
But, oh, come on. Alright, well, I guess we move from the crapper 3 to number 2. It's...
Man, name another franchise that went through a bigger glow up than Kid Icarus. From a standard platformer on the NES to one of the most
Yeah,
charming,
look at this.
hilarious, and epic first party titles on the 3DS. Everyone and everything got upgraded.
Wait, what?
Bosses
Was that a
included.
chest with
Hydra and Pandora,
legs?
who originally just standard bosses that you kill and move on, got massive upgrades in character design
Whoa.
and story importance. And then
Is that a
there's the
Jin?
big bad Medusa. In the original, Medusa was a big face
the
on
hell
a
is
wall.
that?
Yep, big face, didn't move. You shed till her eye blows up and then she dies. Oh, sure, she shoots projectiles and little snakes at you, but at the end of the day, big face on the wall, shoot eye. So for Uprising, the main villain's gonna need a lot more to hook you, and Medusa
Oh, yeah, look at
absolutely
that.
delivers. For as little as she appears between the first level and her final
Oh, look, she has a red snake on her hair.
confrontation, Medusa is
if
an
that's anything.
impressive villain. Unlike everyone else in the game, she's completely no nonsense. You get little humor from her, just a spiteful vow of revenge on Palutena and the people she protects. The game hypes her up as coming back stronger than ever, and the journey into the underworld to confront her is as climactic as it gets. With the 3 sacred treasures, you cut through her citadel, and every single enemy thrown your way gets chewed up and spit out by these things.
Oh,
All the while
yeah.
Medusa is vowing revenge on you and Palutena. After a long trek through, you finally reach her. And first off, Medusa is titanic.
Oh.
Most of your foes so far have been at the
That's a
biggest,
titan.
the size of a house. And the more talkative ones aren't that big. Medusa towers over you like a living skyscraper. Those godly projections of her you saw earlier,
Holy.
they were to scale. So Pit takes to the skies. You have to dodge and shoot Medusa as she sends all sorts of attacks your way. She's deceptively fast, warping around the room like it's nothing and even getting a sneak attack in. Palutena eventually
Still
uses her
impressive.
powers to freeze Medusa in place, but even that doesn't stop her because, true to the myth, even the Gorgon Queen's gaze is deadly. Like the old game, her face is the weak point. Shoot it a lot, and Medusa reveals her true disgusting form.
Ooh.
Looking a lot more like the original big face that was stuck in that wall.
That's
Medusa's head
why.
detaches from the main
Okay.
body and begins flying around the massive arena.
Wait, so you can detach her head? Huh. Great, now she's a beholder.
Just the scale of this fight is mind-boggling. It's hard to gauge the true size of Medusa and her throne room, but they're imposing nonetheless. Meaning
Yeah,
you
no
feel
doubt.
like a true god killer once you finally destroy Medusa and cause her castle to crumble to dust. Take a breather. You did it. You saved humanity.
There it is. Hades.
Hades?
Who's Hades?
Yeah, this isn't even close to the
He's
end game.
the true
but
boss.
still going from how simple the original game had this boss to the cinematic spectacle, Medusa is a prime example of how much Kid Icarus improved after that 25-year gap. Well, here's hoping it doesn't take 25 more for another Kid Icarus.
Oh.
We're almost halfway.
Oh my lord, 2 more years. Okay, now the honorable mentions.
Charizard, Pokemon Ranger to Guardian Signs. For one of the
Ah.
biggest hand strainers on the DS to a fight decent enough to save you some medical bills.
I can accept that.
Ys 1 to Ys Origin. An easy, forgettable fight to why does he have laser spears and minions now?
What?
Black Knight, Path of Radiance to Radiant Dawn. The setup for both fights is amazing, but at least the sequel one has fewer bullshit mechanics to juggle, which is ironic. Yzma from Final Fantasy XII. Do you know how
Oh.
long it takes to beat this boss in the zone?
Yeah, I actually know one thing about this thing. It has 1 million HP, and each one of these little balls is another ball of 1 million. So that's a total of about 50 million HP total. And this thing also has an ability that can actually reflect magic, regardless of who's using it. So if you were to use an attack spell, it could reflect that and instead use the attack on you. If you heal, it can heal itself using that exact same gimmick. So imagine you get down to the final million health, all for it to suddenly go bink, 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 and be fully healed because you decided to heal. Well, though I had heard that one way of getting it to die is to use something that would kill you, or make sure it mirrors that.
Zodiac Age? Not 4 hours. Not 4 fucking hours!
I was just on the engine of just smack, smack, smack. And a golden medal for most improved!
Hey, hot take.
Goes
Did
to-
you know that Sonic 06 is, broken?
If you're probably not taught by glitches killing Sonic, then anachronistic art design will surely make you scratch your head. With Anthro Disney creatures next to anime monstrosities, the boss designs and civilize are horrible atrocities.
It's no use!
I know, it took me completely by surprise. For nearly 2 decades. Yeah, I can't even split hairs with this one. Silver the
Yeah, everyone
Hedgehog's
knows it.
introduction was... Oh. He had so much potential as a character, but it was wasted on a half-baked product that was probably tested for like half a second. And of course,
Yeah.
there's his boss fight. Everyone
It's
and their
no
grandmas
use.
talked about this train wreck of a brawl, so I'll keep it brief. The camera is a royal pain, there's not a lot of room to maneuver, and if Silver grabs you even once, you could be trapped in an infinite loop. It's no use, take this, 1 ring, rinse, repeat, yeah!
Yeah.
Sega shared Silver's stick because he was barely used again after Sonic 06. He made a few guest appearances and cameos in other games, but didn't really get another chance to scrape with the blue blur again. At least until
I'm back!
Oh.
Sonic Generations. Or as I like to
Oh,
call it,
okay.
This Is Your Life, Sonic, where we got to relive most of our titular Hedgehog's past with levels based on previous games.
That's
like it or
right.
not, we had to revisit 06 here. It's ironically a
Crisis
critical part of
City.
the franchise's history. Hey, bad press is still press. Here we have Silver meet up with younger Sonic and mistake him for an imposter, refusing to give up his Chaos Emerald. If you
Oh,
want the
there it
champ,
goes.
you're gonna have to race Silver and bash him down. Rather than make us relive the repressed memories of his original brawl, Generations opted to face the
Yeah.
level off the Crisis City races, aka
Still very
the
funny,
only
though.
levels in 06 that were worth playing. And this fight feels more on brand for Sonic, chasing Silver down along the highway, avoiding
Oh, well, yeah,
obstacles in your
clearly.
path. Meanwhile, Trunks the Hedgehog is levitating and throwing debris at you to try and slow you down. Do what you can to avoid the trash or use it to your advantage to get close and personal with Silver, and then smack him down.
And
no
then a
infinite loops,
smack!
no repetition, and there is use. There is use! Talking on Sonic 06 nowadays is pretty passe. But can you blame me? Silver was done dirty in his debut, and so was Blaze. And he
Yeah,
kinda
they
gained
both
a
were.
bad rep in the fandom. But Generations managed to restore a lot of good faith for him by having
he
him
was
in a
literally
tussle
used.
worthy of his character. If an upgraded fight can take a boss from an infamous title and make us want to see him again, yeah, it's no contest how this got the crown. I'm Josh
Oh, yeah.
Scorcher. While these bosses could be fixed up, can a whole franchise be salvaged with one game? Heck if I know, but we're gonna find out anyway.
Oh, nice. Alright, looks like up for next time will be the top 10 most improved of the game series is. Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's episode, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.